Good morning. Thank you for coming here today. We have a few ground rules for online meetings. If you're not talking, please keep your mic on mute. This meeting is going to be recorded and it's going to be on YouTube on Monday. If you want, like Marcus said, he introduced himself and told us how he got here, you can talk. We'll have a moment for that later today. And just enjoy the meeting for today. Here is our officer board for the Brasília Toastmasters. We have our president, Daniel Pina, who's not here today, but we do have the 3 vice presidents of education, who are me, Olavo, and Nayá. Our vice president of membership, Douglas. And a lot more people. We have Raquel and Aletheia, who are in public relations. Vito, who is our sergeant of arms, really important for the in-person meetings. Lilian, our treasurer, and Thiago, our very devoted secretary. Our values are integrity, respect, excellence, and service. And I'll be your Toastmaster of the day for today. The structure of our meeting is first the prepared speeches. We have 3 speeches today, and later we'll have the evaluation of those speeches. That means that every person, now I'm explaining for Marcus, has prepared the speech according to a project in their pathways, and then they have a personalized evaluation from someone who's been here just for that. Later on, we'll have the timekeeper evaluation, which will say if the person did their speech on time, and also the general evaluator, who is here to pay attention to the meeting, and I'll let her explain more about that later. And now I'll invite Pamella, our timekeeper, to explain how she'll do her role. Pamella, you have the screen.
Good morning, everyone. As a timekeeper, my function today is to help to keep the meeting schedule. For this, I will alert the speakers about their minimal, median, and maximum speak time. And for example, when the speakers get her minimal time, my background will turn green, and the median time yellow, and the maximal time red. Remember, there is 30 seconds of tolerance. Everyone between the minimum and maximum speed time will be eligible to the competition. Thank you, Laura.
Thank you, Pamella. You also reminded me that I forgot one of our key parts of the meeting, which are the applause. Here in the meeting, we do in Brazilian Sign Language, and then we do that so that the person knows that their time is up and also that they're being praised for what they did. Up next, we have Nayá Lima, who will be our general evaluator. Nayá, can you tell us a little more about your role today?
Yes, I won't be able to open my camera, sorry, I just have a glitch here. But as a general evaluator, we are here to evaluate everything that takes place during the club meeting. For example, what time did it start? How was the whole meeting as a whole? And ensure other evaluators know their tasks and responsibilities, explain the purpose of and benefits of evaluations to the group. And I think to give a feedback to the reunion as a whole, okay? So I hope everything is okay today, and back to you, Laura.
Thank you, Nayá. Now we start the first part of our meeting with our prepared speeches. And today, the first speaker will be Gustavo Waideman. He's in the presentation mastery pathways, and he's currently on a level 2 project called Understanding Your Communication Style. His title is The Unexpected Truth About My Communication Style. He'll have from 5 to 7 minutes to deliver his speech. Gustavo, you have the floor.
Good morning, everyone. Have you ever thought about how is your style of communication? I always assumed I knew mine until I reached this project in this Toastmaster pathway. As part of the understanding your communication style, I took an assessment that revealed some surprising results. And I want to share with you the unexpected truth about how I knew my style of communication. According to the assessment, I'm primarily a direct communicator. This means I value clarity, brevity, and getting straight to the point. To be honest, I was a bit surprised. I don't always see myself as that direct. Sometimes I hesitate to speak my mind, worried about how others might react. But as I thought, I realized this directness does show up in my interactions more often than I thought. For instance, I remember a conversation with my friends recently. She was telling me a story, adding lots of details. I was very hurried this day, and I caught myself saying, "Can you go to the point?" It was one of those moments when my directness came out naturally. I wanted the main idea quickly, and I didn't think twice about asking for it. But then, not long after, I was explaining something to her, something that I felt needed more detail and explanation. And she interrupted me and said, "Can you be more direct? I'm in a hurry." That caught me out of guard. It made me question just how direct I really am. It seems that even when I think I'm being clear, I might still have a tendency to go off track. This is why these assessment results surprised me. They pointed out that I lean toward directness more than I realized. The assessment also highlighted my initiative trait. I like to jump into action, especially when things are moving too slowly. In group meetings, I often take charge to keep things moving forward. Just last week, a friend and I were working on a project, and he seemed overwhelmed by the amount of work ahead. I immediately suggested, let's divide this into smaller tasks. We'll tackle them at one time. Break things down like this is a natural part of my approach, helping and thus around me feel more focused and in control. However, I realized that my eagerness to act can sometimes come across as an impatience, which is something I'm working on. Now, the assessment did show some elements of supportive and analytical style in me, although they are not as dominant. I do try to be empathetic when giving some feedbacks, acknowledge other strengths before discussing areas for improvement. It is a way to build trust. As for my analytical side, I know when it's time to slow down and analyze the situation with care. Recently, during our work, I noticed a potential issue with our data. My direct nature wanted to push forward, but my analytical side prompted me to take a closer look, which ended up saving us from a big mistake. So what's the unexpected truth about my communication style? It is that I'm a blend of multiple traits. I thought I knew myself, but this showed me I have strengths I didn't fully recognize it before, and the areas where I can still grow. Understanding my communication style is about embracing these elements. It's about knowing when to assert myself, when to support others, and when to take a step back to listen. In conclusion, this journey through my Toastmaster pathway has taught me that self-awareness is key. By recognizing my tendency, I can better adapt to different situations, express myself more clearly, and to connect more deeply with others. And that's the unexpected truth about my communication style.
Thank you, Gustavo. I really love this project because most of the time we don't really think about how we communicate with others until then. And I also had the same result as you, that I'm too direct. And sometimes I can be perceived as a little harsh, but it's really nice to know how we can work around that. And now we have a time, around 2 minutes, to give Gustavo our feedback. Everyone's invited to do so. I'll just send you the link on the chat. And Pamela, can you give us 1 minute, please?
1 minute.
Thank you, Pam. Up next, we have Lucas Ferreira, who arrived just this year and is already on level 3. He's on the Pathways Presentation Mastery also. And now the project is persuasive speaking. He wanted to know if his speech was just as persuasive as the project proposes, and his title is Teaching and Speaking. Lucas, you have the floor.
Hello, everyone. Can you all hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Just a second, because I have some things to show later. Okay. Well, I think I can start. Once upon a time, at 2018, I was a math teacher in a voluntary course here at Distrito Federal called Gaúcho Vestibulares. Once a week, I prepare and taught content for students about 17 years old to a class with about 20 students. I was like 19 years old, and although I was not exactly scared with the classes itself, it was a challenge for me, everything. For instance, I will give an example. There was one time I was teaching 101 trigonometry, so sine, cosine, and tangent. This is a simple content, but days before I prepared the slides and the whole content and this explanation for it. I knew it was not the best thing in the world because I was starting giving class and nobody's perfect, but I was careful to do something understandable for them. And I explained everything, asked if there was any doubt, and a student, I saw that I saw was pay attention to my class, so there was no excuse about it, raised his hand and asked, teacher, can you explain everything again? I didn't understand a thing. For real, I didn't get mad since I was prepared for this and he was paying attention, but I was a little shocked. I mean, how can I explain this in better terms? And there was a question I took. Somehow, I managed to explain him, and I think he understood at least some part of it. And from my experience, some students may need to face the content 1, 2, 3, 4, even 5 times until he really gets it, and that's okay. However, this whole thing gave me some insights, also because of my experience with teaching throughout the years, And I want to share you some things I think in the expectation to convince you to develop, some things to convince you guys to start open the doors of education. The first insight is that teaching is somehow a mix between impromptu and prepared speech from Toastmasters. You can prepare the best class in the world. You can do everything you thought before, but students will always face you with a new question and perspective you're not prepared for. So you gotta have, a Batman belt with a metaphor arsenal with you to help with these questions. I mean, they are really creative sometimes. Since I hope there's some teacher here and to confirm this later on our pause. But real, this like they're really creative. So all this creativity forces you to think from other points of view, which is amazing to develop your speeches prepared or impromptu. Second thing is that teaching is the best way to learn, and it's not me who says it. There are a famous scheme called the pyramid of learning, and I want to show you it briefly. Can you see it? Thumbs up, please. Okay, so as you can see in this learning pyramid, teaching methods are the best way to, to learn something. As you can see, you can retain about 19% of the content when you are teaching someone. And this is magic. This is the best way for me to learn. And it's not only a thing schematized and made by just for researchers and in their chairs and like distant from the practice. This is real. I really understand as a best way to learn. And and to teach, you need to, study and structure the logic in a way that your students will always get it. And during this journey, you are really forcing your brain to create new synapses. As I said, the students are really creative. So you gotta, have to develop new ways to explain something. And a well-developed brain is certainly useful to cultivate better speeches. I hope you all can see this. Well, I could stay here all morning talking about education and teaching. I really enjoy it. But I think and I hope that you all understood it. And staying simple and objective is important to get the thing itself. Everyone, you guys, should try to teach. And not in a way, I mean, in a class, being a teacher with students, you can teach your friend, your colleague from work, or even mentor someone. Nelson Mandela was a enthusiastic education, and there is a famous quote of him which says, "Education is the most powerful weapon you can use to change the world." I love this one. And my my invitation for you is, how about using this weapon to develop in your own favor and also develop our communities? Thank you.
Thank you, Lucas. When you started saying about Gal, I saw, now it's coming. It's coming a student, and they're saying something that's going to make us fall off our chairs. And you did. They did. It was really good to hear you speaking. Now we have the same moment of sharing with Lucas our feedback. I'll just send you in the chat the form link. And now we have another minute for that. And don't worry, if you don't finish in time, you can still send it later.
1 minute.
Thank you, Pam. You can still give Lucas your feedback, but we're moving on so that we stay on time. Last but not least, we have Olavo, our Vice President of Education, and he's on a pathway called Leadership Development. He's also on level 3, and his project is called Planning and Implementing. His speech is called Contest Making, and I'm very curious about that. So, Olavo, you have the floor.
Let me just pin Pamella here. Hi, everyone. Today's going to be a little meta because I'm going to talk about my previous speech, the one I delivered last Saturday at the contest. Last year, I had the opportunity to participate in the speech in the contest, but I thought my level Toastmaster didn't allow me to do that. That was a cop-out. I actually was insecure about my public speaking abilities. But when Nayá asked me if I'd like to participate in the contest this time around, I said, yes, Nayá, I'm gonna do it. I didn't know what I was gonna talk about. By the time I was reading a book called Guns, Germs, and Steel. I normally struggled a lot when coming up with the title for my speech. This one today, it was a placeholder, but I couldn't think of anything better, so I put contest making. I don't even know if it makes a lot of sense, but it is related to the contest that I did last week, so it was enough for me. So I thought the title, Guns, Germs, Steel, would be a great title for my speech. And I decided to talk about that. My whole gimmick was giving a brief summary about the book, but I had to finish yet, because when I asked me if I like to participate in the speech, I hadn't even started the book. So I decided, the first task will be to finish the book. I'm gonna read between 2 to 3 weeks, and when I finish, I'm gonna start writing, and then I think of the other steps. I try to read every night before going to sleep, and to finish even earlier, I read during the day too. After I finished the speech, after I finished the book, it was time to write the speech. But there was something on my mind during this whole ordeal. I didn't have a lot of experience talking in public. You guys know Laura and Lucas, they were at the speech at the contest last week, and they have a lot of experience doing this. Laura, not as much. She even said that on her speech, but she won anyway. So she had a lot of experience, even though she didn't have presentially. Having that in mind, I had to find that experience somewhere. And that happened when, on September 7th, I became the Toastmaster of the day on a meeting that I think was one of the greatest one, not only because I was in it, but because my pupil delivered speech there. I saw a lot of people engaging with the audience and had so much fun there. So that my second task, getting the experience was done, was time to write my speech. I faced a lot of problems writing a speech. For some reason, I think I can write the perfect speech. I don't know if it's arrogance or something like that, but every once in a while I'll write a speech, then I'll rewrite again, then rewrite again, and then it's Friday before the speech, and I haven't even practiced yet. Because of that, I normally face a few problems during the speech. And here at Toastmasters, especially in the contest, the judges, they don't evaluate what to talk about. If you're aligned right there, or if you're saying something that doesn't make sense, it doesn't matter. What matters is how you do things, not what. To discover how the contests work, I read the manual, and I also became a timer for a meeting at NOS Toastmasters. The whole experience was great. I learned a lot and could put a lot of things on my speech, but there was something that saw in my experience. You see, on August 28th, my grandmother was hospitalized. She was frail and she was very weak. And during the beginning of the summer, she was in the hospital. I visited her anytime I could to try to cheer her up, even though there wasn't much I could do. And was in a meeting and also semester on the week of the contest, September 16th, then my father came home early and delivered the bad news. Olavo, your grandmother passed away. I thought, should I participate in the speech during the contest? I don't know. But my name was there and I had like an obligation with myself to finish what I started. Writing my speech, reading the book, and delivering the speech in front of an audience was a way to deal with my grief, to take my mind out of all of that. As a silver line to you guys, so it isn't so gloom here, There wasn't anything left said between my grandmother and I. Every Sunday, I used to go there for at least the past 2 and 3 years and stay with her during the morning, talking to her, cheering her up. So when the time came, I had strength so I could stay with my parents during these trying times. On the Friday of the contest, before the contest, I had everything done. I rewrote and rewrote my speech practice. So why did I feel so anxious in front of the audience? The answer I could come up with was the fact that me being the Toastmaster once wasn't enough. I had to get more experience presentially. Therefore, I was the last on the contest, was in 4th place, didn't even win a bronze medal. But the whole experience was really informative to me. After the speech, I talked to Erick. He's my evaluator today. Hi, Erick. He gave me some pointers about this whole Toastmasters thing. One thing that caught my attention was a technique called hair and turtle. It's like this. After you write your speech, you go to the hair phase. You read really fast all of it. That way, you can memorize everything you're gonna talk about. After that, you go to the turtle phase. You read really slow, that way you can articulate everything about your speech, and that way you're not make fun out of it when you're in the audience. After I learned that, I started putting this use in the speech today, gonna use it on my next speeches. I'd like to finish off saying that this whole experience was really formative for my public speaking skills. I had a blast doing all of this, reading the book, taking notes on my Kindle, writing, practicing, deliver speech in front of the audience. I was really proud of myself, especially by the fact that I didn't study nor freeze in front of an audience. Doing this presentially like I'm doing now, it's not as hard because I time Pamella, so I only see her. I don't see everyone that's listening to me, but in front of an audience, you don't have that. And having that in mind, a way to deal with my anxieties for me to expose myself to it, especially presentially. Next week, I'm gonna deliver my biggest speech yet in front of an audience. It's gonna be from 10 to 12 minutes, and I'm gonna have a blast doing it. I'd like to finish out, thank everyone that listening to me today. Have a great Saturday, because I know I'm having one. Bye, everyone.
Wow, Olavo! We were talking the whole week prior to the contest last week, and still I had no idea of any of that. That was a complete shock to me, and I'm also really astonished that you went there and participated in the competition. It was really good to be there with you and Lucas and Daniel, who's not here. And now we have our moment again to leave Olavo our feedback. So please go click on the link and we have a minute.
1 minute.
Thanks, Pam. and you can stay here because now we have our Timekeeper report. So tell us about how they did.
Congratulations, everyone. Is everyone in time for the competition? Gustavo delivered her speech in 6 minutes and 28 seconds. Lucas, 6 minutes and 6 seconds. And Olavo, 7 minutes and 23 seconds.
Now we have a tiny competition. We can vote for best speaker of the day, best prepared speech. Everyone is eligible, so you can just click on the link. We have another minute for that.
1 minute.
If you still haven't voted, you can still do it. I will be here looking at it. And now we'll have a 5-minute networking break. That means that we can either stand up and do some stretches, go grab some water because it's really dry here in Brasília, or we can just stay here and chat a little if you don't feel the need to go away. And we can also speak in Portuguese if anyone feels like not speaking in English anymore. It's okay.
Gisele, quantas horas são aí onde você mora?
Aqui são 7h36 agora.
Eita, começa muito cedo para você. Obrigado, viu, por participar.
Obrigada pelo
Aonde
convite.
você tá, Gisele?
Eu estou no estado de Indiana.
Ai, que legal.
O que eu tô falando?
Tá trabalhando ou você mora aí?
Eu moro aqui.
Ah,
É muito legal o online, porque as pessoas podem participar de qualquer lugar do mundo que elas estão. E
E
aí
é
a gente.
bom também que seja cedo, assim, para mim, porque aí tem o sábado todo livre depois, né? Melhor do que ter uma reunião tipo 10 da manhã que
Eu também acho. Essa é toda a minha bandeira sobre essa reunião em inglês, que é pocket, é mais curtinha e que o Olavo tá toda hora. Gente, vamos fazer uma reunião maior? E eu assim, claro.
Claro que
Uma
não.
hora e meia, SPEAKATHON.
Não,
Ia
mas a
ser
gente tem
massa.
que fechar 9 horas certinho.
É sempre importante isso. Questão do tempo. Até no presencial a gente consegue. Eu não sei como, mas sempre acaba no horário certo. A gente vai cortando as coisas. Dá super certo.
e Gisele, você participa de Toastmasters aí dos Estados Unidos também? Porque aí deve ter milhares, né, de opções.
Pois é, essa semana que eu fui, eu tava resolvendo algumas coisas, então dei uma afastada um pouco do Toastmasters, mas essa semana que eu fui tentar encontrar um clube aqui, e eu vou na semana que vem lá. Eu tentei contato pela internet, eles não responderam, eu vou ter que ir lá pessoalmente na semana que vem, vou fazer isso.
Como faziam os Incas e os Maias, né?
É, sim. E aqui acontece muito isso, de você ter que ligar ou você ter que ir pessoalmente falar com a pessoa.
Vocês ainda
Ah,
dão cheque, né? E mandam os impostos pelo correio.
Manda imposto pelo correio. Esse ano eu tive que mandar imposto pelo correio, porque mudou algumas coisas. Eu pago a conta de gás pelo correio, eu coloco o cheque no envelope e vou no correio.
não, que chocante isso. Agora eu fiquei chocado.
Bizarro, é bizarro.
Agora eu tô Brasil 1000 anos luz à frente, que isso aí.
Não, muito,
O bancário
muito.
brasileiro é lindo, muito
Meu
lindo.
Deus, pagar com imposto por cheque via correio. Agora eu tô até feliz de estar aqui no Brasil agora.
O Brasil nem aceita mais cheque.
Aqui é
Meu
só
Deus.
Pix, né?
Isso.
Eu acho que aí nem tem algo assim parecido com o Pix.
Eles estão tentando, né? Eu sei que tem uma ideia de ter algo parecido, mas. E tem alguns aplicativos, mas não é a mesma coisa, não é tão
Ah,
simples
Não
quanto o
tem um
Pix.
aplicativo
Tentando.
chamado Vimo, eu acho, Vimo, que
É,
Tem,
Vemo.
Vemo?
Tem.
tem o Vemo, mas não é a mesma coisa. E é mais regulado também.
Tentando,
Mas eu
né?
acho que é
Mas é
exatamente
Brasil
por isso,
aqui.
eles querem uma regulação. Aqui no Brasil, o Pix, ele tá ainda solto, mas estão correndo atrás também para isso, né? Mas eu acho que tem a ver com impostos, e na Europa também é a mesma coisa, que eu estava lendo outro dia também o pessoal reclamando. O Brasil, né, quando você sai e vê, o Brasil é 1000 anos na frente em relação a essas,
É,
algumas
É,
bancárias,
o nosso
principalmente.
sistema aqui de banco nossa, é, ele é, ele é bem acima, assim, de vários outros países.
me
É,
faz pensar o quão
é pura
inseguro
segurança também, né?
me faz pensar o quão inseguro são as coisas no Brasil e a gente não se
Isso,
dá
é.
conta disso. Os nossos dados estão soltos aí, sendo vendidos, e a gente não se dá
Exatamente.
conta.
Outro dia, uma funcionária do Banco do Brasil estava assim, estava fazendo uma conversa informal com ela, e ela falou assim: Eu não tenho Pix, porque se você soubesse o que acontece, você não teria também. Então, esse você vê por aí. Então, é segurança, com certeza.
E de CPF também, que aqui você passa para todo lugar, assim, né? Você vai e você faz uma compra assim bem simples, aí ele já pede para você, né? Até lá na farmácia, e tal. Isso aí é compartilhamento de dados que eu acho que é muito inseguro.
E, Marcos, o que você acha sobre isso? Sobre toda essa conversa de. Você é do Pix ou não?
Eu sou da área de TI, então já ouvi bastante coisa também.
Ah, então você sabe, né?
Sim, eu já trabalhei numa fintech, então a gente sabe que não é tão seguro assim, então faz sentido o que vocês estão falando. Mas eu tenho o Pix, todo mundo tem, né? É uma grande facilidade hoje em dia.
Você já participou de alguma reunião do Toastmaster, Marcos?
Não, eu viajei a trabalho semana passada, e aí achei bem interessante um amigo lá, ele apresentou muito bem e tal, e eu pedi algumas dicas, perguntei como é que eu podia melhorar, e aí ele me recomendou procurar o Toastmasters da minha cidade, e aí eu achei vocês.
Mas não é a primeira vez, é a segunda vez que você vem, não é? Você veio na última.
Não fui na última,
Não, não veio?
não, primeira
Ixi, eu
vez.
tinha certeza que você já tinha participado aqui.
Não,
Então seja bem-vindo, de qualquer maneira.
obrigado. Eu até
Então, eu
fiquei
fico...
curioso com... Oh,
Não, pode
desculpa,
falar,
Olavo.
pode falar.
Eu fiquei curioso qual é a diferença dessa, além do inglês, né, dessa virtual para as presenciais, como é que funciona o formato, etc.
A presencial ela é um pouco maior, ela vai das 10 da manhã a meio-dia, e ela tem mais discursos. Normalmente a gente tem feito 4 discursos. Na inglês é para ser só 2 discursos, mas hoje foi uma exceção. Depois também tem o Tabletops, isso é igual, porém é presencial, então tem muitas coisas que são diferentes. Porém, eu gosto bastante do inglês, tem a questão do horário e também tem a questão de fica todo mundo, digamos assim, igual. Porque quando fica uma pessoa online, pessoa presencial, tem uma certa distância. Aqui tá todo mundo igual. Tabletop é igual a Calaro comentou, é discurso de improviso. É uma perguntinha que você elabora de 1 a 2 minutos, coisa rápida, mas é bem divertido. Então fica o meu convite para você, se você puder ir, semana que vem, dia 5 de outubro, vai ter uma reunião no Alumni em Brasília, fica na UNB, e vai ser das 10 a meio-dia. Vai ser bem legal. Bem divertido, as reuniões presenciais, reuniões em inglês. Se eu tivesse, é o máximo.
Ah, legal. Eu quero descobrir um pouco mais, quero entender como é que eu posso participar mais. Achei bem interessante hoje. Depois quero ver com quem que eu posso conversar para entender mais como eu posso participar mais ativamente.
Ó, Nayá e Olavo, mandem o telefone aqui no chat, por favor, que é com
Pois
eles.
é, pode. Pode
Também.
entrar em contato que a gente explica tudinho para você.
Não, mas mandem o telefone, senão eu não consigo falar com vocês.
Ah, tá. Verdade.
Esse pequeno porém. E a Pamela já.
Mandar no privado.
Então,
Eu
acho que
mandei no
Beleza,
chat,
obrigado.
aí você entra em contato. Depois a gente tira uma foto também, aí eu te mando essa foto.
muito bom. Então, você voltou porque já acabou nosso tempo?
Yes. Okay.
Okay, let's move on to the next part of our meeting, which is the evaluations of the prepared speeches. And firstly, we'll have Gisele. Oh, it's really funny to say her name like that. Who will be evaluating Gustavo. Gisele, you have from 2 to 3 minutes, and you have the screen.
Thank you. Thank you for being here and for inviting me again. It's always a pleasure to give feedback, something that we needed for improvement. So, Gustavo, congratulations for your speech. It was really nice and engaging. You built a good story. I would tell that you're finished when the end of your speech was really good, really engaging. So congratulations for that. Congratulations for be brave enough and do the speech in English. It's always stressful because it's not our first language. It's weird. We need to find words. So congratulations for trying. So keep trying to do more speeches in English and practicing more. So for improvement, I would say, first thing, filling words. You didn't use filling words. Congratulations. It was one of your goals for today, and I couldn't notice. So congratulations for that. You can see I say so all the time. So for improvement, you were kind of nervous, look nervous. So you were using your hands in a way that were not connected with the speech. So it was a lot of movement of your hands doing this. This is a way that it's something that we do to be more calm, but it's kind of weird, and even more when we have only this small square to be present. So try to connect the words. So I didn't realize I was direct or that I need to calm down, and using the hands to help you with the speech. And also always try to not read the speech. I know it's difficult. It's even more difficult in English. I cannot see my time here. Okay. and try to work in your cadence. And I always say that when I am evaluating in English, I'm evaluating myself too, because we pretend we try to use the cadence of the speech as we do in Portuguese, but in English it's different. So try to find what are the words that are more important in the phrase, so you can put some emphasis on these words. It will help you to to keep the tone and the movement of your speech. But congratulations in general, it was a really nice speech.
Thank you, Gisele. I still don't forget that I did your first evaluation as the ice break, and now you're here evaluating everybody. I think this is already your like 5th or 6th feedback here in Brasília. So it's really good to see how you're growing. And now we have the second evaluation, which is, let me see, Aline. Aline will be evaluating Lucas. Aline, you also have from 2 to 3 minutes. You have the screen.
Thank you, Olavo, for inviting me. It's my first time with you. Lucas, first of all, I have to tell about your body language. I saw you in the contest also, and I like a lot. You were uppy, you were natural, looking to the camera, smiling. So congratulations. And this also could be used as a reason to teaching, because you developed this skill also. About the content of your project, Toastmasters requests you to work in 3 elements: ethics, logic, and emotion. And I saw the three of them in your speech, because you brought your personal story, your experiences. This is ethics. This brings some confidence to what you're speaking. Logic, you brought a famous research that every one of us know about the pyramid, so you brought this logic here. And emotion, you talk about Mandela, you bring some closing phrase in the end of your speech, so you brought emotion to us. It was very great. And one suggestion I have is to bring more arguments to the next one, because we know that not all listeners want to agree with you. So the more you have arguments, the more you can have a success and convince. Thank you.
Thank you, Aline. It's really good to have you here, and I hope you come back many times later. Now we have our last evaluation of the day, which is Erick Gibson. Erick was invited here by Olavo to be his evaluator, and you also have from 2 to 3 minutes. You have the screen.
All right, so let's go, guys. First of all, I would like to congratulate Olavo for his speech, not only for the content, but also for the delivery itself. Olavo, I'm going to talk about your strong points first. Your gestures were amazing, yeah? Your body was in sync with your mind, and we could tell that you were feeling every word you were saying, yeah? So your gestures were your high point from the delivery. Also, the clarity and fluidity, yeah? It was very clear everything we're saying. You barely use any, you barely did any hesitation, filler words I didn't see any. So the fluidity was very good. And regarding the vocal variety, what happened? I loved that you made a pause to talk about the grief of your grandma, yeah? Because you are a very charismatic person, you're smiley, and that pause was essential to make the impacts necessary to talk about what happened to your grandma, and also my sympathies for this. Regarding pronunciation, that was the point you asked me to pay attention to. Your pronunciation is great. The only problem is that sometimes you speak fast, but you do this in Portuguese as well. So it's not about the English language. But one tip that I'm going to give you is the verbs that ends with D and T. Those verbs, they are overpronounced. For example, visit, we say visited. And when you pronounce this verb, you didn't say this properly, yeah? So D and T, overpronounce it. Also, you made a grammar mistake to say, I don't know how the context how the context works, yeah? It's it. So you did one little mistake. And I think there is room for improvement when we think about some details. For example, when you were talking about trying times, that was the moment where you should stress it better. You said trying times very fast, and that was the moment you should do the opposite. You should do, oh, they were facing trying times, and I was there to help them, yeah? So stress in this situation. Also, your comfort level, I think it's average, but you can go the next step and go to the higher level to be an excellent comfort level. You can do this. You will evolve eventually, of course. And sometimes we're looking to the sides. I don't know if to check your notes or anything, but be careful with this. It was very few occasions, but you did this at some points. And the challenge for you is, to your next speech, I want you to focus on how you begin your speech and how you finish your speech, especially how to end things, because that's the moments where you engage the audience the most and you stay in their minds after the speech. Yes, you have to make an impact when you end your speech. So my recommendation for you is to be more emotional and impactful when ending your speech. That's it. Congratulations.
It's really good to be evaluated by someone who's also an English teacher, right, Olavo? Because that way, even if you don't have a grammarian, you still have grammar points. It's really good to see that. Now we have our timer report. And wait just a second. Okay, now it's good. Pamella, you're up now.
Hello, Ryan. Unfortunately, Aline is not eligible to the competition. She made his speech in 1 minute, 38 seconds. Gisele and Erick are eligible. Gisele made in 3 minutes, 7 seconds, and Erick in 3 minutes, 20 seconds. So, for competition, we are Gisele and Erick. Thank you, and congratulations for everyone.
Thank you, Pam. Now we have our vote for Best Evaluator. You have the link on the chat, and we'll have a minute to do that. You can still vote afterwards, but so that just we keep the meeting on the time.
1 minute.
Thank you, Pam. We now go to the last part of our meeting. It's now ending. We have our general evaluator, Nayá, tell us about how we did in this meeting. Nayá, you have the screen.
Hi, everyone. Sorry, my screen is not working. I first would like to commend enthusiasm of the participants, especially Laura. She is the center of this meeting, so it's very important that she gives this, and every time she delivers exceptional. So congratulations, the energy was vibrant and was evident that everyone was fully engaged and supportive throughout the meeting, which created a positive atmosphere. So I'm going to talk about a little about Laura. As always, she was funny. She could connect every time for every block. So as a Toastmaster, you did a great job. So congratulations. What can I say? The meeting was on time. That's very good. Beforehand, 2 minutes before, Laura said welcomed. She welcomed everyone in the room, especially Marcos. So Marcos welcome also. And the guests were informed about the Toastmasters meeting. So this is very good, especially when someone is not from the meeting, doesn't know how to work meeting. So that was very effective. And what I missed is this is a special one, special reunion. It's not a regular one, but you did a great job in the network break because you explained about that, and that was very good. There was people were talking, so no problem there. Let's talk about especially the roles. It's very good. It's a Saturday, but we are here for a couple, just for an hour, but you're here. So Pamella, congratulations for being the timer. You did a great job. You know, I know the whole road you're going through. So congratulations as always. Okay, you are very, very good, giving exactly the time, and every time Laura asked, you did it. Okay, Marcos, just to explain to you, today we are missing a couple of roles. So we don't have the table topics, we don't have the grammarian. That will be like talk about the English and the word of the day. But today is special because it's supposed to be a speakathon. But unfortunately, we had SPEAKATHON was supposed to be like more than 3 speeches, but it was a special today. So just to tell you, today is a special. I must mention also what I missed was the agenda beforehand. As a VPE, I know what is happening, but maybe the next general evaluator doesn't know. So it would be nice to know what is the agenda, what's going to happen. And that's the only point I think it's missing here today. As a whole, the performers were great, very good. The judges, the evaluators, for example, Gisele did a great job. She talked about cadence, modulation, inflection. This is a great example. You did that, Aline. That is from Campinas. So is also, thank you, Aline, for coming today. You talk about body language. That was great. And also Erick, I'm going to give him as an example because Erick, he showed us the sandwich approach, but he gave us examples. So it's also very, very important so we can show what is missing. And you have to give an example in that. Erick did it very good there. Okay. So I'm really happy to be here today performing this evaluator, general evaluator. As Olavo always say, it's great to be here. So I hope to see you next time. Back to you, Laura.
Thank you so much, Nayá. It's so important to have someone evaluating people who are here evaluating and performing, because I see we have now another guest, Nixon. Everyone here is a volunteer. We're doing the role so that we can learn how to conduct a meeting, how we can learn to keep time of a meeting. Those are all very important real life needs we have. And that's why we're here, and that's how the meeting happens. We have the final part of the meeting, which are the awards, and I invite you all to roll the drums with me so that we can see who won Best Evaluator. And it was Erick Gibson. Congrats, Erick! It was a really great evaluation speech, and I really hope we can see more of you in the next times. And now, lastly, the best prepared speech of the day. Roll the drums. And we have Olavo. I knew it because it was so heartfelt, so good. And then when I saw the result, it was meant to be. Congratulations. You really grew so much since your first speech in English here. And now I want to see you do that in person. That's your challenge.
Challenge accepted.
Woo, I like it. Our next meeting will be in 5 October, next Saturday. Yeah, that's right. In Portuguese here in Brasília and also online. And now we have the time to take a picture before we say goodbye. So everyone who can open their cameras, please do so. So Pam, Nayá, I know she can't, but Nixon, you're welcome to join us. Everybody look straight into the camera little thing. Oh, perfect. Hi, Nixon. 3, 2, 1.